It's Little Adorable, back at it again with another video related to writing, which I kind of made it's a little late. It's a little bit. But I made a post on Twitter of like, hey, does anyone have any other questions? Maybe something I didn't cover in my last video, which is related to me being a self-published author. So now, sorry, again, life's been, and I got time now. But I have time to go through your questions and answer them, and I'm excited to see what is there. So let's get started. Okay, here we are, April 3rd. We're past April. We're in another month now. Whoopsie days. Okay, who are we gonna... Oh! Hi, friend. At Corpse Bird asked... Oh, I'm sorry, my mouse is in the way. How do you go about getting a publisher / how to go through the self-publishing route depending on which you do? So for the book I have in my thumbnail, Elvina, this was purely self-published. Again, with the connections I have, they were already there. My husband, at the time was a boyfriend, introduced me to his stepmother, who was already in that realm in the sense of like editing. So she she knew the self-published authors and everything. So I had my foot in through the door with that. So she helped me edit, which I do my own editing too. There was another author who like helped me, I guess you can call it the jacket, but like the book, cover, the spine, the back of it, I wrote the blurb. She helped me put this together, and then me with some guidance went to Amazon, and you're able to just do everything there, which is super nice. I've only done it, the once, which has been a while since I've gone the self-publishing. Sorry, I was looking at the book. But that's the route I ended up doing. Going through like a publisher, you need to like query your work, try and get an agent. The agent then works their magic to try and land you. So definitely a different process, which I've only queried a couple times actually with Elvina. And then you got a couple no's. I wasn't discouraged, but it was like, oh, we're not looking for this at this time. Thanks for, checking us out. And then it was kind of like, you know what? I want to do it my own way. I already have some knowledge in the industry, the self-publishing industry, so that's the route I took. I wouldn't mind trying to like do the they call it traditional publishing route. I wouldn't mind trying to do that. I'm definitely interested in it again. I just have to finish another book, which I'm the person, I always have multiple works going on. The brain is organized chaos. There's always a lot going on. And I try and have like a top 10 list, narrow down to a top 5, narrow down to a top 3, which currently I'm like a little bit back and forth between 2, which I know I've mentioned before. One of them is Cursings, which could be like a trilogy maybe. And the other is Unseemly, which right now is going to be like a standalone one and done. I guess I could do a sequel with it, but it's fine being on its own. So we'll see what I do once I finish one of them. Thanks for your question. Say hi to Tequila for me. Okay, who we got? Sleepless Alexis. Hello. General advice. Okay, your writing process. Where do you think of character names or names for settings? What do you think people should remember when writing books? I might think of more. Oh, do's and don'ts when it comes to writing. Okay. Let's try and take these one by one. I'm a fan. General advice, write everything down. I use my Lappy, I use my phone, I have a note app, which then to transfer it like from my phone to my Lappy, I like copy pasta it all, put it in an email, send myself an email, and then I like copy from there. From the Lappy, always write everything down. Because I've had instances where I don't use it. Let's just say I write something down for book A, I end up using it for like book E, which no correlation at all, but then, you know, I end up changing it and I like something, you know, more for another, whether it be like a person, a scene, a plot device, just anything. So I always say write everything down. That I think would be like one of my biggest, just general, put it out there, write everything down. What's my writing process? Chaos. Sometimes like I'm able to like actually make a decent outline for like the first few chapters. Maybe like I know the ending, and then it's filling in those like different points from like getting to A to B. Maybe I skip C, come back to it, do D, E, F, go back to C just to fill her in. I don't like getting stuck. So if I'm stuck on something, like I'm writing a scene and the dialogue just isn't hitting right with me, I will literally write in all caps, like, add more. And then I cut to the next thing so I don't stop the flow. Or if I'm completely, you know, just at a loss with maybe that chapter, I focus on another chapter, or sometimes I just go to a different, you know, book entirely so it's all fresh and new. And then when I come back to it, you know, I've got a different perspective and I'm ready just to kill it. My process is everywhere. It's still organized, which in one past video I know I showed like my Pinterest board, like that's all organized. My notes are very thorough. I like painting the picture for myself, which then helps me for the reader. My process is just fucking everywhere. Where do you think of character names or names for settings? That it kind of depends on the setting. So like Elvina, for example, One Kingdom is based on like English, so a lot of like, if it's her kingdom, it's Elvina's kingdom, if you will, a lot of that is based on like English. So like, you know, Elvina has an English origin to it. And then the other kingdom in there is kind of like Welsh based, so a lot of that is gonna like the love interest, spoiler, is named Owen. So like that was completely, you know, Welsh based. Sometimes if it's just right for the character, I stick with it. Other times if I like a name, first or last name, I'll write it down on a certain list of mine, and then sometimes I like cherry pick and choose. Other times it's like, this is the character, the name is never gonna change. I have one, his name is Felix Swaggerty. His name has never changed since I created him in high school, I think it was. He's never fucking changed. Like, even traits about him, he's like one character who has like been a constant. Everyone else has been like, maybe I changed the hair length, color, name. He's just been a constant, so it's really funny like seeing how that all works. Other names come like first or last names just from like everyday interactions of like, ooh, that's a really nice name, or hey, I haven't heard that name before, or like, that's nice, but I want to change the spelling of it, you know, this, that, and the other. But yeah, I make sure that they like try and fit and they make sense. Or also like for more of like an old timey fashiony, I guess, setting, I wouldn't use like super modern names. Like I keep that in check of like what would be appropriate. Oh, someone, I'm popular. Somebody, you know, I keep it appropriate for that is another thing. Like, first of all, does it fit the character? Second of all, would it fit like the situation? So like that's something I keep in mind. What do you think people should remember when writing books? Have fun with it. Like, yes, it's nice to think about like the reader in the sense, but like I write what I want to read. Like I low-key put me first. I think that's really important. Yes, you can take criticism from other people, but like still try and stick to your guns because it's your baby. You gotta take care of it. I think I kind of covered do's up here. Like, don't, like, I'm the person when it's late at night and I'm trying to fall asleep. I have an idea, thought, whatever, and I'm like, oh, morning me will remember that. No, morning me doesn't. Morning me remembers I should have remembered something. So I just, grab my phone real quick, make a few notes, and then put it down. So, like, if you have the opportunity to, like, write the thought down, by all means write it down. It's definitely saved me. If I think of other don'ts, I will circle back. Another thing would be too, I guess, is like sharing your work. If you're not comfortable sharing it, don't let other people pressure you into it. I'm very like, if someone's like, oh, you write, can I read some of your work? I get very flabbergasted, I guess, because it's like a big part of me. So sometimes I'm like, oh, it's not ready yet, and in reality, like, I already have multiple chapters written out. I'm able to share it. If I share it with you, like, as like a draft, or hey, can I get your feedback? Like, you're fucking special. So know that. But yeah. Confused Totem. Hi, Nix. The publishing aspect and how did you do it? I kind of answered that above. How do you prevent being butthurt whenever an editor criticizes something or says something you really like that needs changed? Take it in strides. I had one person who was editing it, and it was actually with Alvina, and there's a character in there who says like gonna, not going to, wanna instead of want to, and she kept correcting it, but I was kind of like, no, this fits my character, this is what I want. Like, you can always tell the editor, like, no, sometimes the editor does know best, but for me in that kind of scenario, I was like, no, my character is gonna say wanna and the rest of it. Other times it's kind of like, oh, that was a nice perspective. I really like the way that you rearranged the sentence, the paragraph, however, whatever editing happened. But it's always one of those of like, you as the author, I hope you get the final say in it, for sure. Bon avant. Hello. Tell Conrad I say hi. What is your drafting process like? It's crazy. Ideas come left and right, whether I hear a song, look at something, do something out of spite. There's the cursing series I had mentioned. That's all out of spite, because there was a completely other, like, book series I read, and I wish the author took it one way, and she went a completely different way, and it made me so salty to where I was like, you know what? I'm gonna show the side that I wanted you to show, and you didn't. So, ha. But the drafting is, I have, once I have like a new idea, let's just start with that. I have a new idea, and I make a folder, and the folder section galore in there. It's all organized though, to where I've got like I call them plugins, but it's just like parts, moments. I can plug into a chapter, super nice that way. Maybe I'll start like some of those, and then plug it in when I need it. Others include like characters from profiles to like maybe their stats, so I can like always keep that in check. Any other notes, or if I need like a map or something, or if I need like facts about like if mythical creatures are a thing, I gather what I can and just I stick it in a particular folder within the one giant folder. That helps me, but anyone else looking at it would say that it's chaos. But like when you break it down, like it's perfectly organized, and like I love that system for drafting. But like writing anything that comes to me is like super, super big. Yeah. Hold on, words struggled there for a moment. Do you like just get a rough idea done on a first page? Sorry, I need to finish reading. Or do you really think though how you're gonna frame a scene dialogue before writing? It's whatever comes to me. sometimes I'll have the character's name before I have their personality. Other times it's flipped and it's just like, yeah, this is the person. Don't know their fucking name yet. Sometimes like the plugin that I mentioned before, it's kind of like that with scenes and dialogues of like, I know I want this script to happen. So I still write it down and then I use it when, the time arrives. It also kind of depends on like what comes down to it. Like if I really could, I do like starting with the basic background that helps me, fashion everything together, and then I start with chapter 1 and I try and work my way forward. But at that point, if like A's the start, Z's the ending, sometimes I already have XYZ ready. And maybe then I've got like A and C, and then I really have to fill in the middle part. The middle part, I will say, does not typically come to me first. It's typically the start or the end, and then I gotta connect the dots that way. But it's whatever. There is no order. I wish there was more order. There is no order. Hey, it's fun. Hello. How do you start a story? Yes. Like start it off, like start the chapter. It depends on what's fitting and what the mood I want is. There are some to like avoid, so like circling back to the do's and don'ts. Don't try and do like the cliche like what are some good ones? Waking up in a hospital, I feel like, is a tad overdone. I know some like agents, when they're reading something, they don't want them to get slapped like that never happened. So like maybe a dream sequence and like whatever is happening and it's really engaging, and then you turn the page and it's like, oh, they wake up from their dream. I know some people don't like that. I try and do what fits the tone that I want. There's a little rhyme and reason to it. Like to me it makes sense. None of my stories start the same. I've had some to where they there's one, she like wakes up with a burlap sack over her head. So with that, I try and like gain the senses of like touch, sound, sight doesn't matter, it's all dark. But I like it to fit the tone. After you have the plot in mind, how do you start writing it? What inspires your writing? Do you ever get to a point where you have no idea what to write or to continue with the story? If yes, how do you solve that problem? I low-key think I answered some of that with some other questions. I just like to keep going. Whatever, again, comes to mind, keep going with it. My inspiration comes from anything and everything. To where like something like, let's just say I'm with my husband or out and about and like I see something and I'm like, hey, that would be really cool for all of this, and he just kind of looks at me and he's like, how did your brain think of that? He's a very like math sciencey person, so sometimes I think just like my imagination can baffle him. Like he understands it, by all means, he lets me do my thing, but he's just like, I would not have thought about that. So anything and everything goes. Do you ever get to a point where you have no idea what to write? Yeah, that's where I get like a little bit of writer's block, and it's just like, this doesn't fit the scene. I'm done with it. Maybe I want it to go this way, but I need it to like get there. That's where I like put the little stop. Depending on how big of a stop, whether it's like everything's in the all caps of like, add more dialogue to get to here, just to help me like as a placeholder know what I need to do next. Or I just move on to a different chapter, a different scene, just so like that's not bogging me down, because that's no fun. And then you're gonna dwell on it and like overwhelm yourself, and like that's no good for your brain. No good for your brain. So that would be one way that I solve it. That's awkward. I'll check it later, but I swear, like, it's definitely Kindle and hardback. Okay. Well, thank you. Foolish Trash, hello. Tell us where you get your inspiration from, whether it's like in real life stories or mythology or anything. Sorry, I haven't read any of your books yet. I don't care. They're screaming. I love it. If you have any mood boards, that'd be cool to show. My mood boards are like so great for me. Granted, on Pinterest you can like make things I think they call them like secret or something. Like some of those, I like for the bigger books that I have, like those are obviously those are secret. But there's some others of like, hey, this dress looks pretty, which I know I talked about it in a previous book. Like that's how Unseemly started. Was I saw a pretty dress and it was like, ooh, it'd be nice to have a character who wears like high fashion, kind of like that, and then the rest just ran with it. And I super like that. Again, anything and everything. Literally, like whatever you say, do, I could use in my writing. Yeah. Some lines people, not like lines, talking with another person, some of those lines I've used before are like a variation of it, because it's like, this is so good for this one particular character to say, and things like that. Mythology, I will say with the Cursings novel that I have, there is like classic, I was thinking of the myth, my dyslexic brain is a scary place. The classic mythology is in there, and then like there's, I call them mythicals, but it's the magical creatures / paranormal beings are in there. And there's been some to where it's like I couldn't find the exact thing that I wanted or needed, so then I not like pick a category, but like I pick a country maybe, and then I try and narrow down like some of its mythical creatures, and then I there's been a few that like I've made my own, just because I couldn't find exactly what I wanted, and it was like, oh, this could pass off as a real mythical creature from there's one I'm thinking of, like I said it came from Ireland, and when my friend, who also is a big mythology person, who was reading it, she was like, I don't remember like reading about this anywhere, and I've never seen anyone else use it, and I'm like, I made that one up, and it made me feel so good. But she's like, the descriptions, the little brief background you gave it, she's like, that felt real, and like that made me feel so good. Yeah, if you have mood boards, again, some of those are secret, which I did in a previous video. I know I showed one for Unseemly. I have to see about others. Like rye bread. Hello, Phoenix. Do you have any specific thing to conquer writer's block, or just let things happen naturally? I know, again, I mentioned it before, doing the all caps trick, which I've seen some people do, parentheses of like what they want to happen, so it's like a filler, and then they skip to like the next part, or if there's a cutscene, they skip to that, or they skip to the next chapter. I don't like dwelling on it. It, can not like suffocate you, but it just like squelches every desire that you have to like want to keep going if you're just stuck. So I'm just like, cool, I'm not gonna let you bother me anymore, and I'm just gonna skip over you. That is all I can say. Granted, it's always in the back of my mind of how I can make it better, but like I always come back to it and get past it and get the scene out I wanted, the dialogue out that I wanted. Like I make it happen. Oh, this one I will say I did previously answer, because I noticed that you had asked me about my book, My Little Baby. But yes, spoiler, I write books. I've always enjoyed writing books. When I was 14, it like really hit me of like I wanted to be an author, and I made it happen, and it was really, I actually made it happen like 10 years later. So then I was 24 when I first published, self-published, but published Alvina, and that made me like, this was my baby, and my little baby book. But yeah. All right, who we've got? Zoe Raquel 6 or Zoe Raquel 6. Hello. When I write, I only ever get so far before I stop, but I love the book so much. Oh, again with the, so how do you go about writer's block, finishing a story? I will say I am very stubborn. I don't like leaving things unfinished, which the multiple works that I'm always working on, they're not like unfinished or untouched. It's just I've got them like on different priorities in my list. Like I will get to them eventually. But if I'm constantly jumping around back and forth between so many books, nothing's ever gonna like feel like it's gonna get finished. So that's where I finally was like, focus on your top 3. And now it's come down to the top 2, but like there's one that just keeps fighting to be at the top. So we'll see if I just focus on that one, get it out of my system, finally get it done. But I would say you can take time off from writing and then, come back to it. Like, don't let it, like, defeat you in that sense. Bored with it, I've seen some people not, like, spice it up, but, like, change the tone. I've seen some people say if you're bored with it, do a plot twist, have a character die, have something, happen, have something get in the, I don't know what kind of story you have something get in the way of the main character that they didn't see coming. It's kind of just working with what you have, but again, the all caps trick I have of literally writing in all caps what I want to happen, and then I move on. So it doesn't, stop me, and I always come back to it, which I do understand. Like, I love it so much, like I want it to be done, but like it's fine if it doesn't get done right now. It can wait a little bit. Getting past writer's block and finishing a story. I think at least finishing it, I will say when it came to Alvina, that one I didn't know exactly how it was gonna end. I kind of just like kept it rolling, and as things happen, more things popped. Like it kind of like it was a nice little surprise of like, what else can I do? So that was kind of nice. And then like the ending just happened. Like you kind of like realize it like after, like as you're writing, you don't realize it, and then like once you finish it, you're like, oh shit, that was the ending. That would, yeah. Try and not let writer's block stop you, which it's writer's block. It's gonna happen. But don't, if the door closes, like get back in there. Open the door again. You got this. No, I don't know how to say. Like, I want to say EQ. Well, I see EQ there, but like there's an older, I guess, video game that was called EverQuest, and we called it EQ for short. But hello, I'm just gonna say EQ. I don't want to butcher your username. Hello, EQ. Wait, you write books? Yes, I do. Well, I only have one out, but like I'm always writing. What's your favorite book or storyline you've written, or are working on, and what's your inspiration behind it? That's a very good question. I might say Cursings. It's my oldest running one. And like the work I've put into it, the characters, the plot, the background, which I'm always changing something. I'm always going back and revise. Like, I want it to be perfect. That one, like, Alvina meant a lot to me, but like Cursings really might mean like the most to me, I think. The storyline is still changing, because again, I keep I want it to be perfect. The storyline keeps keeps changing. That's the one where the main character is a human, like just a human, nothing special about her, which I call in that world ordinaries, because, you know, they're ordinary, whatever. And she kind of deals with, like, the mythicals, or the mythical creatures, paranormal beings, this, that, and the other. That one I had mentioned before was out of spite, because I was salty that an author didn't do something, which we'll see. It makes me happy. That's what I care about. The world of cursings makes me happy. Good question. What do you do when you get stuck? Honestly, oh, hello, HonkSav. Sorry, I meant to say your username. What do you do when you get stuck? That's kind of like what I've been saying with the writer's block. Sometimes I will literally get up from my writing desk and walk around. You know, I've got 2 dogs. Maybe go play with them a little bit. Maybe go, if my husband's at his desk, I go bug him. Other times, I will say a nice little trick is I literally move my spot. So, like, I'm typically at my writing desk, but, like, I know earlier today I was in the family room on the couch and, like, the dogs were by me. So, like, I changed my scenery. That, like, was really nice. Not like a breath of fresh air, but, like, it had a similar effect of, like, it was completely different. It was a nice little change. It helped. Yeah. Do you think of the whole story first or scenes that you want to happen and write around them? I write around them. For the most part, I've got scenes and I go with it, and then the rest of the story typically follows suit. It is very rare that I have the whole story. Most of the time the inspiration comes from something like I see, I hear, maybe a certain, like, line, and then the rest just follows suit. That sounded like Oakley. Both of no dog is in here. They don't want to follow me up here. They wanted to stay downstairs. I'm not hurt. But yeah, I would say that typically the scenes happen. Sometimes the character happens first. I will say that's what happened with Cursings. Is the main character's name happened, like, her first name happened first, and I was like, cool, I'm gonna work everything around this character who I know nothing about. And then, you know, like, more came, and sure enough, I was able to take not most of the plot, but, like, a good portion of the plot, which involved modern world mythical creatures from another, like, book, which, again, write everything down. I was able to take, like, a good chunk and use it then for Cursings, and I'm much happier with it being in Cursings. So that was really nice. That it was a work I hadn't touched in a few years, because I finally was like, you know what, I'm not feeling it anymore, and I've got other works that I want to focus on. And then it was kind of like, oh hey, I can't get rid of you, because now I know that you live here. I rehomed it, if you will. So that was kind of nice. Boba. Maybe I need a character who likes boba. I will say, when I'm writing characters, especially the main character, I try and give them, like, one little baby trait about me. I have yet to give anyone who likes boba. Might have to change that now. But yeah, thank you all so much for the questions. I had fun answering them, and low-key might now have inspo to write a character who likes boba. So thank you again. I will see y'all in the next video. Bye! Okay. Am I recording? Hook! Anyway! Hi. No, looking ugly. Too late. Sorry. Fuck. Sorry, I needed that. I just did that intro. In one take, and I'm not looking back. So whatever I have, I'm gonna use. But I needed that. Okay.